Little Sue returned to her home. Until Little Sue returned to her home, she found Xiamo was gone early in the morning, and she unexpectedly discovered that a fruit knife was inserted into the canvas of Xiamo. Little Sue removed the knife from the canvas and looked back and forth. There was a hole in the canvas. Little Sue took the knife and couldn't think of any clues. It was the headache that reminded her. She remembered yesterday and remembered the drunkenness she seemed to have yesterday. Little Sue was quarreling with Xiamo in her impression. Little Sue thought and couldn't remember what was arguing. Xiamo didn't come back until noon. Before going to work, Little Sue left a note to Xiamo and said a few gentle words. Little Sue's mind came and went with bad premonitions. Little Sue went downstairs alone with her bag. When Little Sue walked to the ground, she suddenly heard someone talking to her behind her, and Little Belle followed out. She stood on the second floor, waved to Little Sue, and made a goodbye gesture. Little Belle said loudly goodbye to Little Sue. Her pronunciation was extremely ugly, and it sounded like charged. She stood at the top of the stairs, her desolation and her face disproportionate like adult cosmetics. Little Belle looked at Little Sue accurately and said loudly with a volume that can only a dumb have, "Charged!" Little Belle's voice made her look more like a dumb. She can only say this word. Other thoughts became the wind in her eyes, and only the wind could know where they would blow. Sadness dragged back and forth on Little Sue's chest. Little Sue raised her head, hiding behind her tears and looking at Little Belle. Little Sue knew another meaning of her goodbye is hoping that she could come back soon. Little Sue waved her hand upstairs and said, "Goodbye." Boss Wang and Little Sue occupy a large sofa each. Outside the blinds is dusk. The melancholic light at dusk came in flatly from the window, making the porcelain in the room and the wall appear to be static at dusk. Boss Wang is afraid of dusk. Since getting rich, Boss Wang has this extra problem. Dusk haunts him quietly in every dusk. No matter where he hides, dusk can catch him accurately, gives him to himself, lets him be shrewd about himself, indifferent to himself, arrogant to himself, and ignore all to himself. Dusk is the cold-faced killer of modern cities, becoming your shadow, magnifying your own shadow under your feet. Dusk, the lyric poet of the agricultural age, is bought by business like this, and walks around the streets at every sunset in the city and is engaged in mental murder. Boss Wang is holding the cup, in which is always boiled water. His pinky squirmed quietly on the glass surface. Little Sue keenly saw this detailed movement. Boss Wang's eyes are very calm, but his pinky shows his strength. Little Sue doesn't believe in human eyes, as eyes are no longer the windows of contemporary people's souls. Every contemporary person's eyes are already eloquent. Little Sue believes in human hands. You use one hand to lie, at least the other hand does not. Little Sue looked at his fingers. Life is difficult on every finger. Boss Wang played with the cup and suddenly said, "You say, what do you fear most when you become rich?" "Bankruptcy." Boss Wang laughed silently and shook his head silently. Boss Wang said, "No." Boss Wang tilted his upper body, looked at Little Sue's two eyes, and said, "It's eyes." Boss Wang was concerning that little Sue could not understand, so he moved his hand and stretched out his middle finger and index finger to make a V shape. Pointed out from his nose is eyesight. All people look at me with only one kind of eyesight, business eyesight. As for other things, caring, comforting, and even sex, it can only be trading. Little Sue was worried when she heard the word trading. Little Sue lowered her eyelids, feeling that she had stolen his money, and sat at the side very uncomfortably. "Why do you say that?" Little Sue said, looking at her toes. "It makes no sense to say that." Boss Wang stopped speaking after hearing this, laughing crookedly. When a man smiles with a crooked mouth, he has some weird thoughts in his heart. Boss Wang turned off the topic and said abruptly, "If I am standing on the podium like this now, do I look like a professor?" "Nope." "Really?" "No." "Where am I not like?" Little Sue thought for a while and said, "I don't know. You are not anyway." Boss Wang stood up and walked to the window. The dusk outside the window was even more dusky. Boss Wang stood for a long time. His eyes were full of chaotic clouds when he turned around. "I always wanted to be a professor," Boss Wang said blankly. "This is just an idea when I was a teenager. The idea in youth is harmful and can make people suffer for a lifetime. At that time, I just thought, when I have money, I will come back. Life just won't come back. The losers won't come back. Even the winners won't come back. Life is just so chilling." "Why do you want to be a professor? You're 100 times better than a professor," Little Sue said seriously. "You're just vain." Boss Wang laughed again. Boss Wang smiled and said, "Money can buy honor, but money really can't buy vanity, little sister." Little Sue is used to being nervous in front of Boss Wang. Seeing him so casually, she's not confident. Little Sue said softly, "I'm just your employee." Boss Wang sighed and said, "Yes. It's one class and another class." Xiamo did not find Little Sue in the company. This ending was unexpected by Xiamo. The young lady answered with great confidence, "There is no such person. There is absolutely no such person." Gotten this answer, Xiamo had not recovered for a long time. He walked into the elevator. The elevator sank. Xiamo firmly believed that he had fallen into a well and fell freely into the depth of the earth. The elevator brought Xiamo back to the ground, but there was an indescribable disappointment when Xiamo stepped on the marble floor. Someone must have lied again, either ground or elevator.